guinea pig Pumpkin is making a lot of noise more than usual. I'm not sure why, but recent pickups I did at least want to talk about, and ones that I'm like really gung ho and crazy about. But one is this came out about a decade ago, Over the Garden Wall. This was a Cartoon Network series. It was a mini series. It was only about 10 episodes. And you could watch through this entire show within the length of like a normal movie runtime. It's basically like equals up to like 90 minutes for 10 episodes. They are very short. It's kind of like Adventure Time. Like each episode of Adventure Time was really short. I love this series. It's about Wirt and his little brother Greg, and they meet a bluebird named Beatrice, and they just kind of have like this little adventure. And at first you're not sure like why they're in the situation they're in. They're just kind of wandering through the woods and stuff like that, and you find out later in the series of why they are where they are. But each episode is it is pretty episodic, but it does have this overarching storyline, and it does have this very clear end. And this is like one of my favorite TV shows that's come out in the last like decade plus. I adore this show. This is the best thing to watch right before fall time or right during fall time. Like right when fall hits, this is the best series to watch because falling leaves everywhere. It just has this autumn like harvesty vibe to it. And it does get pretty spooky in moments, but like, spooky in a safe way. It is a kid's show, so it's like they can't go too overboard with stuff. Like, if you're basically an Adventure Time fan, this is definitely one to check out. Elijah Wood plays the character of Wirt, and he's like, his voice is perfect for the character of Wirt. And the kid, I think his name's Colin something, who plays Greg is such a funny character and like one of the best like animated characters, like to me at least. And Melanie Lynskey, most people know her from Yellow Jackets, but she plays the voice of Beatrice, the bluebird here. But one also perk I will say is you could probably find this on Hulu and watch it on Hulu, but one of the best things about buying a physical copy of this, is there actually is a unaired pilot episode called Tome of the Unknown, and actually I think that was its working title before they went with Over the Garden Wall. But I think the unaired pilot episode was called Harvest Melody or something. So it basically was watching this like Thanks, Pumpkin. But yeah, it pretty much was like watching just a whole bonus episode. The downside to that bonus episode is Melanie Lynskey's voice is not in that episode, so there is another lady playing Beatrice. And the overall story to that Tome of the Unknown, like unaired pilot episode, there really wasn't like an actual story to it. You basically just are introduced to the three, like they have already been well-established friends, and the rest of the series isn't really like that. It's like Wirt and Greg are brothers, but Beatrice they just kind of run into and are kind of in a way forced to go on this adventure with them. So, but great series, highly recommend it. It's one of those that flew under the radar, and like not a lot of people talk about it, but those who have seen it are like sing its praises to the heavens, and I'm one of those people. Next up is one that I saw, my wife and I just watched it. I had heard about it kind of just through YouTube. I really have to deep dive into like movies that would interest me, because my general interest, like, stop whining. My general interest in like movies and stuff like that just kind of, I feel like I have to do more of a deep dive. Like, I'm not easy to please with a lot of stuff, and especially acquaintances of mine and like coworkers are like, oh, I watched this, it's so good, and like 90% of the time it's nothing that interests me. But anyways, off on a tangent there. But I found Perfect Days. I rented this and watched it with my wife, and I was like, this is practically a perfect movie. Criterion put it out. I mean, for good reason. This is a movie that I don't think should ever be forgotten. This is how great this movie is to me is like, if the fact you can watch a movie and it makes you kind of want to change your way of thinking and change the way you kind of go about yourself and live your life, that's powerful. And this movie does that. Perfect Days is just about a guy who is like a public toilet cleaner. Like, he doesn't work a very dignified job, but he basically finds the beauty in such simplistic things and kind of lives his life of just enjoying himself and kind of slowing down, not really having the craziest ambitions in life, and still being content with what he has. And this whole movie is just like this meditative, just following this character around on just his daily routine. And things happen in the movie, but borderline at the end of the movie, really nothing happens. But that's a good thing in this movie. It's just someone who just enjoys their routine. Sometimes things, come along and that kind of gets in the way. But ultimately, it's a character who just accepts what is and just still enjoys his life anyways. And yeah, there's nothing like more amazing than watching a movie like that and making you feel like I just need to slow down and appreciate things. And everybody feels like once you have downtime, you have to be productive with your downtime. And this movie is kind of telling you like, that's stupid. Why do you have to be productive with your downtime? You are entitled to just enjoy yourself when you have nothing that you need to do. And I love this movie for that. And yeah, I mean, I really can't say much more on it. And I mean, if you just want a movie that's just calming to watch, this is one that will do it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching just the main character, and he doesn't talk much, which is automatically much better to me. I love kind of the stoic, silent type characters, but they clearly do have a personality, but they're not these like ramblers. And while you're watching this video, I'm rambling about this. I am a very quiet person. I'm very introverted at heart, but if you watch my videos, you're like, oh, Brett rambles a bunch. But real life, I'm not much of a talker, but Pumpkin's a bit of a talker right now. But yeah, Perfect Days is a great movie. And finally, on this, I've always heard this movie's title through the grapevine, but I never really gave it much attention. And then I remember just hearing it one day on a whim. I looked up the trailer, I'm like, that looks kind of great to me, and watched it, completely loved it. Kiki's Delivery Service. This has made me want to dive more into Studio Ghibli's collection of stuff. It's kind of funny because I've watched Spirited Away, and sorry about all the noise with my guinea pig, but I'm one of those few people that watched Spirited Away, really did not like it whatsoever. I don't know, I'm on an island with that opinion, but everyone loves that movie, and I'm just like, didn't really care for it whatsoever. In fact, I wanted to turn it off like 3 times, like in the middle of watching it. I don't know, did not care for Spirited Away, so knowing it was the same studio that did Kiki's Delivery Service, I was a little hesitant on that, but I just heard all these great things about Kiki's Delivery Service, so bought it on a whim. I was like, if anything, it'll probably be better than Spirited Away, and that was kind of my mindset going into it, and watched it and adored it. Kiki is such a great character. Most of this movie is just a great thing just about dealing with like depression and just burnout in life, and I love that about this movie of like Kiki was this witch and like loves flying, and then she moves away from her parents and kind of starts her own life, and then when the thing she loves so much ended up becoming her job, like she lost a lot of love for it and ended up pushing herself so hard that she pretty much lost all passion to even like be a witch and like fly around and do what she was doing for a living that she used to love so much. And that's such a relatable thing. Like, I was in bands for years. I was a musician. I said I wanted to like tour and be a professional musician, and then like, I was like in a band that was signed to an independent label, and we were already like starting to tour, and I found out real quick I didn't like it. And as time went on and just dealing with all these outside parties of like the one thing I wanted to get into so badly, like I just stopped enjoying making music. I just didn't like doing it for quite a long time. And then now that I'm out of it and have been out of it for a while, music's fun again for me. And I love that this movie kind of does that. This whole like, you kind of have to kind of work your way through the motions, and sometimes the thing that you kind of lost a lot of passion for, it's going to ebb and flow. And I like that this movie doesn't really have this general like, oh, everything's good now. Like, it is, but it isn't. Like, it's like not all of our problems are solved. Like, Kiki's problems aren't solved by the end of this movie. It's like, I still get sad sometimes, but I love where I live. I love this town, and I love what I do. But, a lot of themes through the movie is just like, there are times I don't want to be a witch. I don't want to like fly on my broom, even though people are so enthralled, with what I do. The grass is always greener on the other side. It's like, it's not all the greatest for me, So, yeah, this is one I'm definitely going to go back to. And I adored it. It's just a cozy film. Like, despite it having, darker themes, and Kiki, you can definitely tell, has some sort of depression, through the movie, where it's like the things that you do enjoy doing, like, still doesn't really fulfill you. And that's something I can highly relate to. I deal with depression a lot of the time, and a lot of times, yeah, I just don't feel great about myself, even though I do something and I'm like proud of it. I don't really get the endorphins or the serotonin that like you're supposed to feel joy, after doing something. And there's a lot of things in life I feel that way, where I'm like, I feel guilty because I should be happy doing these things, but I just don't. And this is a movie that deals with that theme a lot. So it really spoke to me. I adored this movie, and I'll definitely be going back to it. But yeah, those were three recent pickups I just had to talk about. Also, I did forget to mention, I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts lately. I beat one. I played about 5 minutes of Chain of Memories, and I was like, I'm not playing a card game for 40 hours. And now I'm on Kingdom Hearts 2. And been really enjoying it. I just beat Halloween Town, in Kingdom Hearts 2, it was Christmas Town, basically. And I wish I was there longer. It was a lot of fun. But, I like to call this the most convoluted series of all time. If you don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts, just look up what the actual story is, and basically people could summarize it in maybe about, an hour in the least amount of time. But yeah, still fun. I'm along for the journey. Just take me on this weird ride, man.